Some of us suffer with misaligned compassion, feeling like we can be the determiner if somebody deserves something or not. And somebody who really struggled with this idea was Jonah. He struggled with misaligned compassion, feeling like the city of Nineveh didn't deserve God's grace and God's forgiveness and God's mercy, and even getting angry at God because he offered that to those people. I think such an important question in Jonah was in 4:4, where God says, "Is it right for you to be angry at this?" And he's asking Jonah that question as a reflection. I'll put on the screen the Hebrew translation of that question, because God's basically asking, is it good for you to be angry at this? And I think that is such a reflective question. Is it good for you to be angry at people receiving mercy? What is this doing for you? How is this benefiting you? And what does this reveal about your heart's intentions? And I think that it's so important how God brings the tree to shade Jonah and then takes away the tree, and Jonah gets mad. And God's saying, it's not that you don't have the capacity to care, but your care is misplaced. You care about the tree shading you, and you care so much that you would rather die that it's not here, but you're not caring about these people and this city and these animals and everything in it. And God ends the whole book of Jonah with the question of, should I not feel sorry for such a great city? He sees how much Jonah cares for this tree withering away and not shading him and not benefiting him. So his care, his compassion is intensified when we see that the situation affects him. But it's not shown when we see the situation affecting a great city of people. So basically, he's mourning the loss of personal comfort and failing to have compassion for human lives. And that is such a huge, I think that is so relatable to a lot of people, because when it comes to our personal comfort, our attitude is a lot different. But when grace and mercy is shown to other people, we can feel like certain things aren't fair or certain things aren't deserved and feel bothered in our spirit. We might not argue with God about it, but our heart and our mind shows our conviction and how we feel about that. My baby is teething and playing with his toy right here. Whoa. Hi. It's okay. It's okay. All right, y'all. What they say, obedience is better than perfection. So Jonah shows a prime example of correct theology, but a misaligned desire. And I think that, again, is very relatable to how we think in certain situations, because he says, God, I knew this would happen. You are a God of mercy, grace, compassion, forgiveness. He states God's qualities, but fails to align with them and fails to agree with how God exercises his mercy. So he's having this moment of contention and confrontation with God, saying, like, this is why I didn't want to do this, because you're too forgiving and I don't think those people deserve it. Placing himself as the standard of judgment and measurement for what is deserved, and not seeing that God is actually the standard for judgment and measurement of what we deserve. And I think that this is so important also because he is confronted by God with that question, like, does this do you well to be angry about this? Is this good for you to be angry about this? What does this show about you? Because you're not pleading for my mercy to be applied, which we see a lot of the times, people getting angry and frustrated with God and saying, please spare people, please exercise your mercy. God, you are good. We don't see Jonah doing that. We say, God, destroy these people, going against what he knows God to be, who he knows God to be, to feel personal comfort and personal pleasure and personal satisfaction of people being destroyed. I think a lot of our hearts can be like Jonah. It's such an interesting and complex story. And the fact that God ends it with that question also, like, should I not be concerned for those people and the city of all of these people? If you are so angry that you want to die because of a tree withering away for lack of personal comfort, should I not care for these people who were living in spiritual darkness and just needed guidance? Not, they just needed help. They needed Jonah to go there and show them, hey, turn away. I hope I'm in the screen. I'm like trying to keep my baby out of the camera, but should I not show compassion for people who need spiritual guidance? And that's what he says, for people who don't know their right hand from their left hand, right? They need guidance. and they were childlike in their awareness of what was going on. And so God sent Jonah to bring them awareness, to give them a chance at restoration. And Jonah didn't want that. He wanted them to suffer. He wanted them to pay for what they've done. And I'm sure that, it's interesting too, now that I say it out loud, because he got swallowed by the whale and prayed from that place of wretchedness, and God saved him. But he didn't want the same grace applied to all of these people. And so that just shows us too, like a stain is a stain and a sin is a sin. And yes, there's different levels of consequences, but it all offends God. And when God offers his grace and mercy, it's nothing to be taken lightly. So Jonah having that grace and mercy applied to him, but not wanting it applied to other people, shows the hypocrisy of his heart and the hypocrisy of how our hearts can be sometimes too, wanting to be forgiven for things, wanting to be considered for things, but not wanting others to be in those same positions as us. And so I think this is just such a great story to really be applied to our everyday lives. And I'm going to leave y'all with that to sit with. I'm going to leave myself with that to sit with. God is so good and provides revelation through these scriptures for me every day. I wanted to read through Jonah fairly quickly, but I've been spending so much time on it because it's so rich. I thought it was going to be like a quick reflective reading of something that I've already kind of understood before, but providing all of this revelation of just like misplaced compassion, incomplete surrender, and all of these different themes that come out in the story that are so rich. Yes, say it. Say God is good, baby. Say God is good. I'll leave with that, and God bless you all. Have a great day. I hope you made it this far in the video. I hope I stayed in the frame. And I'm gonna go be mama now.